Right, let's go now to CLP Senator, so Country Liberal Party Senator Jacinta Price, who of course once sat in the National Party room and now sits in the Liberal Party room. Jacinta, I've got to say, this looks like a massive judgment error on the part of your leader and a massive own goal. I mentioned your history here. You've sat in both party rooms now. How do you see things? What's your position? Can your leader survive?
Look, I believe mistakes were made, absolutely. And I think leadership is judged by whether you can correct those mistakes. I think it was a huge mistake of the opposition to put pressure on the government to recall Parliament and pass legislation. And I think I expressed that quite early, that I felt like we needed to have a proper process to, the Royal Commission. I know there were those who would argue that we needed to put measures in place immediately. But my understanding is that we have laws that address these issues already, and we need to make sure that they're actually enforced. And that's a failure of leadership from the Prime Minister to have enabled that to happen. But as I said, I suppose, I don't think we should have recalled Parliament as quickly as we did. And I think leadership is about not reacting after things have fallen apart, but about ensuring that we prevent that breakdown from occurring in the first place.
I guess you're making the point that after calling for the government to bring back the Parliament and have solutions, your side needed to have solutions of their own if they couldn't support what the government had on the table. And clearly they didn't. I think that's where the tables got turned for the government in their favour, when they flicked it back onto Susan Lee in the middle of the week and said, OK, well, you can't support what we've got, put up what your options are, and there was nothing coming from the opposition. So what happens now? Does she need to go in order for there to be any chance of a coalition, or do you think that if she sat down with David Littleproud, they can resolve this? You know both characters well. Can they work through this, or must there be leadership change?
Look, I think, this has really been a breakdown in process. And I think you articulated it perfectly within your editorial last night, Peter. And I think what we need to do is return to proper consultation, proper respect between the parties, discipline between the parties when it comes to decision making. But that culture can only be nurtured through leadership. What's happened now is we've taken the heat off the government for their absolute horrible bill that they have put forward.
Yeah, but she's forced you to quit before, Jacinta. Is she up to being a leader? Let's be blunt. You walked, Andrew Hastie walked. Now we've got 8 on the National Party front bench in addition to the 3 she sacked. This is looking like her epitaph. Susan Lee, the woman that no one can work with. Does she need to go?
Yeah, look, this is a question for party room, and Australians are watching very closely, obviously. In terms of my circumstances, I think I made it very clear that obviously the leader had lost trust in me, lost faith in me, and I suppose I felt the same at that time. I don't feel like things have improved to that effect.
Right.
And this is a decision
Right.
for the party room ultimately.
Well, I think the party room will decide it, won't they, when they're back there on the 3rd of February. Jacinta Price, thank you.